Okay, we're going to create the monthly sales report. And we're in Excel. And as you can see, I'm starting in cell A1. And I'm going to kind of maximize my screen. And I'm going to share now so you can see exactly what we're doing, okay? All right, so this is the monthly sales report. And let's go ahead and give it that title. We're going to type monthly sales report. And in A2, I want you to type your name, okay? So I'm going to put my name there, and then I'm going to press enter. So since this is a monthly sales report, then we need to have some salespersons, we need to have some weeks, and we need to have some totals, and we'll also perhaps do the average again, the max, and the minimum value, so you can also see an average, because sometimes in your reporting, you have to report certain things. All right, so let's start with week 1, and we're going to go to B4 now for week 1. Now, if you're working alongside with me today, then at the end of the class period, you'll have this completed, all right? So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to do week 1. And rather than saying week 2, type in week 2, week 3, week 4, and etc., we're going to let the computer populate those cells for us. So we have week 1. We're going to go to where it says at the bottom right of the cell, on that square, put your mouse right on it. The mouse turns into a hairline plus. Click on it and drag it to the right until you see week 4, right? Then release it. All right. Now let's type the word total. And we're going to type the word average. And we're going to type the word highest value. And then we'll type lowest. Because when we're dealing with salespersons, we want to be able to see exactly what they're doing. All right, so we're going to say salespersons. And I'm going to whiten this column a little bit like this. To whiten the column, you can actually double click on it. That extends it to the longest width of a cell, or you can just simply click and drag over. All right, I'm going to merge and center monthly sales across cells A1 to I1. So I'm going to highlight. So I click, hold, and drag to highlight with the mouse. Or I can hold my shift key and hold the right arrow key. And that would allow me to do it as well. Excuse me. Now what we want to do is go to the alignment group. Now, if you're using the modified version of Excel that's been provided by the college, just look for this little symbol that looks like this, right? And it should be somewhere near the alignment group. And then click on it. And now that merges that. And if you want to do merge your name, you do the same way, highlight it, and go to merge and center. All right, let's give some of our salespersons a name. All right, so I'm going to use the names of students in class. I'm going to do Shorter. I'm going to do Robinson. I'm going to do Pearson. See Felicia. Felicia, what's your last name? Felicia. I see Raquel. I think Raquel, your last name is Smith, right? Smith. Who else is in class today? All right. Stuckey is in class. And Pinkins is in class. And LaShanta. LaShanta, what's your last name? Are you guys listening? Or are you in the cafeteria eating? Y'all there?
I'm listening.
Okay. All right, and looks like Ford is here too. All right. Did I miss anyone who's present today?
I'm here.
Okay, Pearson is here. Okay, all right. So now, guys, if you have a laptop, you should be seated at a laptop and you should be working with me, okay? All right, I'm gonna put total here so we can know exactly the total for the week. We could also do average here, okay? We can also do the highest here. So not only will we know what the total is for the month, or the average for the month, highest for the month, or the lowest for the month, we can also know what is the total for the week, average for the week, highest for the week, and the lowest for the week. All right. Okay. So now let's just assume that these salespersons, they're selling, say, computer devices, right? And so, and we're going to put this, we're going to say in thousands. So I'm going to say in thousands. So rather than typing out big numbers, we say in thousands. So if we will put 250, for example, that will be 250,000, right? So I'm just going to randomly put some numbers in. I'm just randomly putting numbers in, okay? All right. Now, for week 2, then we're going to do like the reverse of these numbers. I'm going to do 850, 750, 850, 900. Okay, 550, 50, 50, 50, and all right. And so now I'm going to show you a little trick because I don't want to keep typing these numbers in. I'm going to let the computer add some things for me. Okay. So I'm going to say equal, and I'm going to go equal C6. And I'm going to say, I'm going to add 75 because we've asked everyone to increase by at least 75. All right. So when I did that, it's actually adding what the content of C6 plus 75. Now I'm going to let the computer do the rest for me. All right. So now I've done that. Now last week, we're not going to demand too much because they've really worked hard all month long. And so we're going to do this equal 925 plus, and we're going to say 25. All right. And then we're going to let the computer do the rest for us. So now we have our data. Again, we have our title, we have a subtitle, and this is another subtitle here. All right, so when people look at these numbers, they'll realize that these numbers are just not 250, but 250,000. So now I'm going to click here and I'm going to merge and center this. So highlight like this and merge and center. All right, and so that's in thousands. Now let's go in and get a total. We're going to get a total, and then we'll do some other modifications and some other things that we can do with this assignment. So how do we get the total? We're going to go to our what? We're going to go to editing group, click on auto sum. Auto sum grabs that range, and then we'll check it. Okay. Again, auto sum It grabs the range, and now we can check. Now, rather than doing this 10 other times, just simply go to that square, double click on it. Then it populates everything else. Let's get the average. We're gonna go, and if you want to, you can do it this way. You can highlight the range like this, then go to editing group, click on the drop list box like this, click on average, right? So it gives us the average. Again, highlight the range. Do not highlight total. Our range is going to be B through E. In this case, it's going to be B7 through E7. So highlight those 4 cells. Then we go to the editing group and click on average. All right? Now you can continue doing that and or you can just let the computer populate the other cells. So we double click like this and we're good. Now let's do the highest. We're going to do the highest. Do not include the total and the average. We're only including the range of B through E. Highlight the range. Then we're going to go to where it says auto sum. We're going to go to where it says max, which is the highest value. Then we click on it. All right. Let's go now and do the lowest. Okay, this is highlighted, so we don't have to highlight it. I'm sorry. Let's do this again. Yeah, that was right. Okay. All right. Okay, let's go here and highlight. Well, we're going to highlight again, and this time we're going to do the lowest value. Go to where it says lowest. Lowest is going to be min, M-I-N, right? And notice the minimum value. If you go and visually look at the numbers here, you'll see that the highest is 950 and the lowest is 250. Right? Now you can continue doing that, or you can let the computer highlight like this, use the fill feature, and then just simply double click. Now you have everything done. Right? So now let's get the total for week 1 and week 2 and etc. So again, we're going to go to the editing group and we'll click on the we'll click on the sum, we're on a total, right? It goes and it grabs that range for us. Once that range is selected, just simply click on the check mark. So the total for the week is 5,200, but we know that's going to be in thousands, right? Okay. Now, once we get that total in, we can drag it all the way over to here. Okay. You don't have to get a total for the average, highest, and lowest. That's not doing us anything. Now for the average, we're going to do the same thing. We can highlight the range, then go to the editing group, click on average. Oops, that's not what we want to have happen though. Okay. It's probably best to do it this way. Click on average. It grabs that range, but you're going to have to force it. So go and identify the range and then check it. Right? Again, identify the range. And what I would do is just position here and go to highest, which is max, and then go and grab that range. Then check it. Okay. Same thing for the lowest value, which is going to be min. Click on min. and then highlight your range and then check it. Notice how the formula appears in the on the formula bar, and it also starts with the equal symbol. So every formula begins with the equal symbol. Now, remember how we use the fill feature? You can use the fill feature here as well. Highlight it like this, and then go and drag it over. Okay. All right. Now, I don't like to have these decimals hanging out there. So what I'm going to do is highlight the range, and let's just use whole dollars. So we're going to highlight the range, then we're going to go to the number group on the ribbon, and you'll see something that says increase and decrease decimal. So let's decrease decimals, and notice how it's going to round off for us, okay? Now we're dealing with whole numbers. Now, the next thing that we need to do is, let's do a little formatting here. Let's highlight this row. And once we highlight the row, we're going to go up and do some fill. All right, so select your favorite color you like to have. All right, let's spruce it up a little bit. This is one way of sprucing it up. Another way of sprucing it up is to use a format cell. Okay, now you can also use all of these styles here. If you click on these styles, see all these various styles you can use. All right. Okay. So that's one way of doing it as well. So keep that in mind. But it's up to you what you want to, how you want to do it, as long as you. I would go ahead for the monthly sales, since this is the title of the report. It should really be a little larger. Okay. And so now if you want to, notice how the numbers right align, as you can see here. And notice how the text, the text basically is what we call a label. Notice how the label left aligns. All right, see the difference? All right. Now you can actually do something here if you want to, and add centering. So you can center. Also, if you really want to do something kind of fancy, you can go to the alignment group, and where it says orientation here, you can actually change your orientation. And let's change it to that degree, 43, and we're okay it. All right. So if you want to, you can spruce it up a little bit, make it a little more interesting. Now, the next thing we want to do is, since we're dealing with highlighting some areas that we really want to pay close attention to, like the totals, you can highlight that range and then go back and, do some fill. Okay. And now it kind of like makes this pop out, because we're really concerned with the totals. Okay. And again, here you can do the same thing and make it stand out for you. Now, if you're dealing with the average, again, highlight the range. Then you can go with something like this. Okay, if you're going to do the average in green, then you can come here and again, do the average in green. Okay. All right. Now, and here, where you have the highest, and you want to go and select the colors, so you're kind of like color coding. It makes it easier for the person. If you're referencing something, you can say the highest I look at the light shaded blue, and then a person can actually follow you as you're presenting your information. Highlight like this. Again, you're doing this like this. Okay, let's find another color. What color? Use that color. All right, highlight and use that color. All right, so if you have a color, you have something that you, like what I did, I should not have highlighted this cell, then what I can do is go back to the field and select no field. Okay, but if you want a number that you want to stand out, like this total here, okay, average, if you want these numbers to stand out, then you can actually do something like this. Highlight the range, and because we want these numbers to stand out, highlight the complete range, then we want to go to where it says, and you can use a darker color if you choose. The only difference is that you're going to have to make sure that the font color is light up. All right, so if you're trying to point people to look at something more specific, then you can. So as a manager that's looking at this report, then I'm going to be looking at the bottom line. Okay, the bottom line is what's the total for the month, right? And so for everyone. So then when I look at this, and then if you're not exactly sure what this number is, you know, you can actually on the side, you can say equal this times, and we said it was in thousands, right? Type in 1,000 and enter. Now that lets us know exactly how much. And then of course you can do the dollar symbol, and now you're looking at $22 million, right? Okay, so rather than putting these big numbers like this in the spreadsheet, what we do is just put the basic number, because we know we'll be multiplying times 1,000 because we said this is in thousands. All right. The next thing I want to do is go over charting again with you, and then we'll let you finish the spreadsheet. All right, so let's go and do a chart for the first week. All right, we're going to highlight the range, and we're going to go to insert. On the insert tab, you'll see where it says charts. It'll recommend some charts for you. So if you want to, it depends on how your manager might want to view this, right? Some people like to see it in a vertical approach. Some people like to see it maybe in a bar, more of a bar approach. So if you select this as your choice, okay it, then this is your chart. Now you can move this chart somewhere at the bottom, and then you can give this chart a name. Since this is week 1, right? This is week 1. And we probably should have given it a date in terms of what month, okay? We can say monthly sales report for September. September 2024. All right. So we're now a little more specific with it, right? Okay, now look at this chart. It clearly shows who's been doing the most work here, okay? And so at the top, we have Stuckey at the top, and we have Hinkins close by and also Ford, all right? Now, if you say, look at this, look at what's gonna happen now. Now this is Smith, right? And we go and say, oops, we made a mistake on Smith. Smith actually has done more than that, okay? Then what we could do is we can go up to Smith and Shorter, they're about the same. And we say, well, they actually did more than that, right? So let's just plug in a number and say 750 for Smith on that day. Now notice what's going to happen in your formula. Look at your total. Your total says 52, right, to the 200. Now, if you click off of that, then notice how that all the other formulas, everything is just going to update. See that? And look how that chart also updated. All right. Now, if you go and you say, well, Shorter actually did a little bit more than what's being reported. All right. We went in and we found that Shorter did more work. All right. So let's do 450 for Shorter. Now, if you come here, you're going to see that number has changed. Also, your chart has changed. Okay. Now, so that's chart one. And you can actually see exactly what happens. Now, if we were to go here, rather than saying week one, let's be specific, week one, September 2024. Okay, now as we saw in last week, you can also go and give your chart some other types of styles. All right, so you don't have to have plain Jane. You can also give your chart some color. All right, so do some color stuff with it. All right, and as you can see, you click here, you can see all these things you can actually do. All right, now let's do another chart, and this time it's going to be a pie chart. We're going to do a pie chart for week 2. Now we need to see exactly what folks are doing. So now we're going to highlight the range, and because we're going over to week 2, we're going to have to hold the control key. Then we click and identify this area. Okay, we're going to go to insert, we're going to do a pie chart. I like to do 3D pie charts. All right, now as you can see, with the pie chart, you have to do a little more looking for the pie chart. Now, if you see this bar chart, you can actually see the person's name and see exactly what's occurring. But with the pie chart, you're gonna have to look a little more closely to this legend. All right, at the bottom, this is the legend. These where the names are. This is what we call a legend. So now, if you look at Robinson, which is this color, then you go to the chart, you can see how much Robinson has done. Now, let's double click on it like this, and we're going to say week 2, and we will say September 2024. Once we've done that, now we're going to double click, and we're going to come up here, and we can see, put some percentages, put names, or we can put some percentages there. See that? Okay, so it depends on how you're presenting information and what you want to basically share. All right, now looking at this, it shows us by name who has done what, and it is in 3D. Okay, click here like this, like that, and I like to see it in percentages. Okay, with the percentages with it. All right, so you may have to widen it a little bit to actually see, but you can see how Lashanti is here at 7%. Hankins, I think Hankins maybe 8%. So you can see the percentage of who's pulling in whatever that week. All right, so that's one way of doing it. And then if you want to do it, there are different charts you can use. Now, suppose we want to do the entire week like this. So you highlight the range, and now you go to insert, and let's do a column chart. So you can go in and select whichever chart you want. And so if you click on this chart, for example, you can see the various things you can do. All right. So this might be good because what it gives you good information. Let's do 3D. All right. So what this chart is saying here is that Shorter had her greatest moment the last week of the month. All right. And Robinson had his greatest moment at the last week. And so what you're doing is going through and says Pearson, she really works harder at the last of the month because you got to get those numbers in. Then you see Felicia, you can see what's happening, okay? Then LaShantia, now I just plugged in numbers randomly, okay? We can see that maybe she's falling off the boat a little bit, all right? What's going on with LaShantia? Well, then we realize that we've been sending her on other special projects. So which means she's been working other projects and her sales volume is a little low. So all of this is kind of like information for a manager, right? And so now he looks at, if he looks at LaShantia and says, she did really well the beginning of the month. Now, what happened toward the end of the month? Well, what happened was she went on the second week, she went to a conference, hypothetically. And so she wasn't able to do her sales. The next week, when she came back, she started her going back into sales, but she was still meeting with people and having a conference, all that good stuff. So that's the information. So let's give this chart a name, and we're gonna say monthly sales report. And we're gonna say September 24. Now this is at a glance for everyone, so we can see exactly what's happening. All right, so again, that's basically what you need to do with the assignment. Make sure that you merge and center what we call the titles and subtitles, and use some type of orientation rather than plain Jane here, okay? And if you have decimals, like there's decimals here, go ahead and round it off to whole numbers. It's easier to read and for calculation purposes as well. So let's just make sure they're whole dollars. And since we are dealing with dollars and it is understood, right? You can either put it here at the top, dollars. And so anyone who's looking at this realizes that we're not talking about horses. We're not talking about cars per se, but we are talking about how much money is being generated from the product. Any questions, comments? All right, so that's basically what you need to do for this assignment. Now, if you want to take a picture of this, you can, but when you turn this in, I know you're having a problem uploading the spreadsheet itself. We're going to have to talk to see how we can get that changed. But when you upload it, go ahead and send me the spreadsheet. So you can upload the PDF, but also send me the spreadsheet. So when I go in, when I start clicking, I'm going to be looking for formulas, right? So when I click here in this area, all of this area right here represents formulas. So anywhere I click, I'm going to see formulas. Here, 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 here. Okay. All right, now we already know how to insert headers. Let's do that again. So insert, and we're gonna go over to headers, all right? Click on header and footer. And then we're going to basically look at putting in a header. So what is this referencing? Put in a date, page number. Let's do date, current date. Remember when we do current date, it's going to insert it as a code. And when you go to insert the time, it also inserts it as a code. So which means if you open this file next week, it's going to have the current week on it, current date, and the current time. You can also put page number. This is page number, click on it like this, and then you're good to go. There's so much other stuff that you can actually do with your spreadsheet. So I'm going to get out of the header and go to footer, and we're going to say learning how to insert formulas into a spreadsheet. Okay, now the other thing that you want to do is this. Sometimes when it breaks away like this, that means we have too much information on one page. Well, now you can change to landscape, page layout. You can go to orientation, go to landscape, and see if we can have everything back on what? On the same page, on one page. So we still have the sales report kind of like hanging out there. So let's go ahead and move that sales report onto a page that looks like this. Now, another thing you can do is you can do what we call a scale to fit so that everything fits on one page. And what you would do is go to where it says here on the ribbon where it says scale to fit. Notice it says 100%, but you can change the percentage, all right? You can either go up with it, but since we want to basically kind of get everything right on there, keep going. It's going to reduce it kind of like that. If you go up with it, that means it's going to print on, it's going to print on different pages. And so what we want to do is make sure it is on one page. All right. And if all else fails, just make your charts a little smaller, or you can put your charts on another page. It's up to you. Any questions? Any questions? Questions?
No.
And we're good? All right. Okay, now on Thursday, we have our business assembly. So Thursday might be a class that you get to work on your own, all right? But I do want to have everyone attend the assembly with us. Can you guys do that with us? The assembly is a mandatory, right? Didn't the president say that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right. All right, I'm gonna stop sharing. I'm gonna stop the recording.